A man with no past, no future, and no identity walks into a small Irish town. Days later, his body washes up on a beach, stripped of identification, with only questions left in his wake. Who was Peter Bergman? Why did he choose Sligo, Ireland as his final destination? What was he running from or toward? This isn't just a story of a man's death. It's a tale of calculated disappearance, of deliberately erased identity, and of hauntingly unanswered questions. The world is left to speculate on his origins, his purpose, and the eerie meticulousness of his every move. Was this a master plan or a desperate escape from something darker? Introduction and background. It all began on Friday, June 12, 2009, when an unremarkable man appeared at the Ulster bus depot in Derry, Northern Ireland. He waited alone, quiet, unassuming, yet strangely purposeful. He had with him a black shoulder bag and a carry-on suitcase, nothing out of the ordinary. By the time he boarded the bus to Sligo, Ireland, he was just another passenger in the crowd. Yet every move he made was a step closer to the meticulously orchestrated mystery that would leave investigators baffled and the public captivated. At 6:28 p.m., the man arrived at the Sligo bus station, stepping off the bus with an air of quiet confidence. He hailed a taxi without hesitation and directed the driver to the Sligo City Hotel, where he checked in for what would be the last 4 days of his life. At the front desk, he introduced himself as Peter Bergman and provided an address: Einsteders 15, 4472, Vienna, Austria. It sounded legitimate, ordinary even. But the truth? That name and address were complete fabrications. Investigators would later discover that no such street existed in Vienna, and the postal code 4472 was unassigned. More chillingly, Peter Bergman wasn't even his real name. This man, who seemed so ordinary at first glance, had gone to great lengths to become a ghost. Over the next 3 days, Peter Bergman established a pattern, one that seemed mundane at first, but would later reveal itself to be deeply calculated. Every morning, he left the Sligo City Hotel carrying a purple plastic bag filled with unknown items. He walked through the town, entering shops and public spaces, only to return hours later with the bag mysteriously empty. What was he doing? Authorities would later deduce that he was systematically disposing of personal belongings, items that could potentially identify him. But Bergman was no amateur. He carefully avoided CCTV cameras, strategically choosing spots where his actions couldn't be recorded. Was this paranoia, or was it the work of someone with a chilling purpose? On Saturday, June 13, 2009, Bergman made his way to the Sligo post office at 10:49 a.m. There, he purchased 8 82-cent stamps and airmail stickers. Witnesses described him as calm and deliberate, as though every action had been rehearsed. He prepared several letters and mailed them. To whom, that remains a mystery. None of the recipients have ever come forward. None of the letters have surfaced. Were these letters final messages, cryptic instructions, or simply another part of his plan to disappear? The following day, Sunday, June 14th, Bergman approached a taxi driver with an unusual request. He wanted to find a quiet, secluded beach where he could swim. The driver recommended Ross's Point, a serene stretch of coastline just outside Sligo. At the beach, Bergman wandered the shore, greeting passersby with a nod or a smile. Witnesses later reported seeing him walking alone, his demeanor calm yet distant. But why Ross's Point? Why this beach? Was it simply a place to reflect, or was this part of a plan he had been orchestrating for years? On Monday, June 15th, Bergman checked out of the hotel at 1:06 p.m. He carried 3 bags, a black shoulder bag, a purple plastic bag, and a black suitcase that was different from the one he had arrived with. His original carry-on luggage had vanished. Bergman walked through the town, stopping briefly at the Quayside shopping center, where he lingered in the doorway, looking around as if waiting for someone or something. At 1:38 p.m., he arrived at the Sligo bus station, where he ordered a cappuccino and a ham and cheese sandwich. As he ate, he pulled out several pieces of paper from his pocket, studied them intently, and then tore them into tiny pieces before discarding them in a nearby rubbish bin. What secrets were written on those papers? Instructions, final thoughts, clues to his identity. At 2:20 p.m., he boarded a bus to Ross's Point for what would be his final journey. That evening, Peter Bergman was seen walking along the beach, casually greeting strangers as though he were on a stroll. He seemed calm, perhaps at peace. But behind that calm exterior lay a man carrying the weight of a carefully guarded secret. What drove him to Ross's Point that day? Was it the beauty of the beach, the isolation, or something more sinister? Death beneath the veil of secrecy. On June 16, 2009, his body was found on the shore of Ross's Point, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions. His life, death, and actions in those final days became a puzzle that even the best investigators could not solve. But what was he hiding, and why did every clue seem to lead to a dead end? The stillness of Ross's Point was broken on the morning of June 16, 2009, when Arthur Kinsella and his son Brian stumbled upon the body of a man lying motionless on the beach. The scene was peculiar. Peter Bergman's clothing, including a black leather jacket, blue trousers, socks, and polished black shoes, was neatly folded and left on the shore. The precision of this act was almost unsettling, as though he had taken great care to arrange his final moments. But why the unusual attire? The man's purple-striped swimming trunks, with underwear worn over the top and a navy t-shirt tucked into them, painted a bizarre and haunting picture. At 8:10 a.m., Dr. Valerie McGowan, the attending physician, pronounced him dead. As investigators began piecing together the details of Peter Bergman's death, the autopsy results raised more questions than answers. For starters, the body bore no signs of drowning. Despite being found near water, there was no evidence that he had succumbed to the sea. His lungs were free of seawater, and there were no physical injuries or signs of foul play. Instead, the report revealed the hidden pain he had carried during his final days. Advanced prostate cancer, ravaging his body from within. Bone tumors, likely causing immense chronic pain. A history of ischemic heart disease, which would have weakened his heart over time. Perhaps most shocking was the absence of medication in his system. A man suffering from such serious conditions would have needed powerful painkillers, yet none were found in his toxicology report. How did Peter Bergman endure such agony? And why did he seem determined to die without any form of relief? Investigators turned to CCTV footage and witness testimonies, hoping to piece together Peter Bergman's final days. But what they found was nothing short of maddening. For 4 days, Bergman had walked the streets of Sligo with a purple plastic bag filled with personal items. Each time he returned to his hotel, the bag was empty. Where had the contents gone? He had methodically disposed of his belongings in public trash bins, carefully selecting locations outside the reach of surveillance cameras. This level of precision suggested deliberate planning, as though Bergman had studied the city's layout and knew exactly where to act. His clothing, too, was an enigma. All labels had been painstakingly cut away, erasing any clues about where the items had been purchased. It was as if he wanted to vanish completely, leaving behind no trail for the world to follow. On the afternoon of June 15, 2009, Peter Bergman checked out of the Sligo City Hotel for the last time. Surveillance footage captured his movements in chilling detail. At 1:06 p.m., he handed in his room key and left the hotel with 3 bags: a black shoulder bag, a purple plastic bag, and a different black luggage bag than the one he'd arrived with. At 1:38 p.m., he was seen ordering a ham and cheese sandwich and a cappuccino at the Sligo bus station. While eating, he retrieved pieces of paper from his pocket, read them intently, then tore them into small pieces before discarding them. At 2:20 p.m., he boarded the bus to Ross's Point, greeting passers-by casually as he walked along the beach for the last time. What was on those torn pieces of paper? Were they instructions, farewell messages, or something far more sinister? For 5 months, the Garde worked tirelessly to unravel the mystery of Peter Bergman. Yet every lead seemed to dissolve into nothingness. The false address he provided at the hotel, Einstedtersen 15 4472 Vienna, Austria, didn't exist. His DNA and fingerprints yielded no matches in any international database. Even attempts to identify him through dental records failed. While his teeth showed evidence of extensive dental work, including a gold crown, these details offered no clues to his identity. It was as if Peter Bergman had never existed. Renewed appeal. It has been 14 years since the lifeless body of a man known as Peter Bergman was discovered on the serene Ross's Point beach in County Sligo, Ireland. His identity, like his carefully orchestrated disappearance, remains an unsolved enigma. Now, in an extraordinary effort to bring closure to one of Ireland's most puzzling mysteries, Locate International, a global missing persons organization, has launched a renewed appeal for information. This fresh push seeks to rekindle public interest in the case, leveraging cutting-edge tools, innovative investigative techniques, and the collective curiosity of the global community. Could this be the key to unlocking the truth behind the man who called himself Peter Bergman? On June 16, 2009, the mystery man's body was found on the tranquil shores of Ross's Point, leaving behind more questions than answers. The name he provided at the Sligo City Hotel, Peter Bergman, was false. He moved through the streets of Sligo like a ghost, skillfully avoiding surveillance cameras while disposing of his belongings in a purple plastic bag. His meticulous efforts to erase his identity were matched only by his striking physical description. Thought to be in his 50s or 60s, he stood 178 centimeters tall with gray hair and blue eyes. One of the most intriguing aspects of Peter Bergman's time in Sligo is the mysterious letters he sent. On his second day in Sligo, he purchased 8 stamps and airmail stickers from the local post office. But the recipients of these letters and their contents remain unknown. Who were these letters sent to? Were they goodbyes, confessions, or something far more cryptic? Despite extensive investigations, no one has ever come forward claiming to have received correspondence from Peter Bergman. Could these letters hold the key to unraveling his true identity? On the eve of his death, Peter Bergman approached a taxi driver with a strange request. He asked to be taken to the quietest beach in Sligo, a place where he could swim undisturbed. The driver took him to Ross's Point, the same beach where his body would be discovered the next morning. What were his thoughts as he gazed upon the ocean that evening? The autopsy revealed shocking details about the man's health. He suffered from advanced prostate cancer and bone tumors, conditions that would have caused excruciating pain. He had endured multiple heart attacks in the past. His body had just one kidney, and his dental records included a distinctive gold tooth. Yet, despite his serious illnesses, Peter Bergman carried no medication. Why would a man in such dire health choose to endure so much pain? And why did he take such careful measures to ensure that no one would ever identify him? In its renewed efforts, Locate International has teamed up with ThingLink, an interactive media platform, to create a powerful investigative tool. This interactive asset allows the public to explore Peter Bergman's final days, learning about his movements and the clues he left behind. Additionally, forensic imaging consultant Hugh Morrison has produced a new depiction of what Peter Bergman may have looked like, breathing fresh life into the investigation. A YouTube video featuring exclusive CCTV footage of Peter Bergman in Sligo has also been released, bringing his enigmatic presence back into the spotlight. Locate International has made a direct appeal to the public, asking for any information that might shed light on the following: the false address he provided, Enstetters 15, Wien 4472. Does this hold significance to anyone? Did anyone receive a letter from Sligo in June 2009? Did anyone treat a man matching his description for cancer in the late 2000s? Does anyone recall a connection between a German or Austrian individual and Sligo, Derry, or Ireland's west coast? Could this man's story finally find its missing piece in someone's forgotten memory? On September 18, 2009, Peter Bergman was laid to rest in an unmarked grave in Sligo Cemetery. Only 6 people attended the funeral, a somber tribute to a man who arrived as a stranger and left behind only questions. In their statement, Locate International said, "This baffling case has captured the hearts and minds of those who know about it, and our renewed appeal seeks to spread more awareness and reignite interest in hopes of solving the mystery." Over the years, the case has spawned countless theories. Some believe he was a spy, a man trained to disappear without a trace. Others think he was a fugitive, running from a dark past that he sought to erase. And then there's the most haunting possibility. Peter Bergman planned every detail of his death to ensure no one would ever know who he was. Why, we may never know. In November 2009, Peter Bergman was laid to rest in an unmarked grave in Sligo. Only 4 Garda attended the funeral. No family, no friends, no one to mourn the man whose life and death remain an impenetrable enigma. The story of Peter Bergman is a haunting reminder of how much we may never know about the people around us. Do you have your own theory? Share it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Mystery Media for more chilling mysteries, unsolved cases, and haunting tales that defy explanation. Because sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.